Our immediate task now, find these girls.
Yeah, but there are some factors.
Find these girls.
There are factors that you need to consider in finding the girls. For instance, the near mutiny situation you talked about, different accounts actually, but even from some of the commanding officers, junior ones in the field of play, they have their accounts as well. What about that school of thought that says there are moles within the military who are sabotaging this?
I don't have fact to that, but
you heard it.
But I've read about it,
and it's also very possible.
It's possible. It's possible. And then you see, we must. That's why I said, ab initio, that near mutiny situation has to do with people bandying figures that are not realistic. People take figures and tell you more than 4 trillion.
No, but one of the accounts we heard was that the officers, no, not the officers now, the troops had been ordered to go for a certain operation, and that when they finished, they were supposed to stay where they were, saying, look, they had relayed the message that this place is safe, let's stay there. But the GOC says, no, come back, and give them the coordinates to use in going back. And then on going back, some of those guys were ambushed. And then some of the other officers who heard it came back. And then that near mutiny situation occurred.
Well, the military has done what they need to do, which is first.
Did you hear? But did you hear that account?
There are so many, Chamberlain. There are so many accounts you get to hear.
But did you hear this one?
I heard about it, but you know, I'll tell you something. I know some of these things. Maybe those against the president, they use some of this. But I say the military is a very sensitive. The Nigerian military is very, very sensitive, because that's our last united organization.
And we need to ensure that things are going well. That's why some of these questions are
that we
coming
don't
up.
bring in divisions. I know last time we had this under Dambazo, those who went on foreign course, they said they were not paid what they were made to pay. They were supposed to be paid. There was that crisis in Abeokuta also. It was resolved. And I think after then, it was agreed that they are paid the UN standard. Now, is there room for improvement to encourage the troops? Yes, meaning Nigeria must wake up to the challenges that it's confronted with. Our expenditure on security is a joke. Considering the work at hand, reorganizing the immigration, making them really, really effective and efficient. The Nigerian police, making it truly the police, the first line in the war. The military is not supposed to gather local intelligence. No. But did the police have anything for them to work on? No, meaning they had to start from scratch.
Do you think we should have accepted, or we should request and accept ground troops from some of these countries that are willing to share intelligence with us?
There's no way United States, UK, or any of them, they've had the experience in Sudan and other places. There's no way they're going to bring ground troops. The best they're going to do is what they are doing.
Which is share intelligence.
Share intelligence.
Ultimately,
recognizance.
It is still Nigerian soldiers that will go
going to do it.
So, it's not a diversion now, but, I want us to talk a little about the meetings that have been held. One was held in Paris, and one of the things we heard was that the Boko Haram sect has now been designated Al-Qaeda in West Africa. What perspective do you think that brings into this entire battle?
Finally, the world is paying attention. I've read how Hillary Clinton, our Secretary of State, they impressed on her to designate Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. She didn't do that. And from your newspaper review this morning, that Nigeria was probably scared that if Boko Haram is designated as a terror group, the implications for you and me and those of us traveling to US and all that. But I think finally, everybody, Cameroon especially, they now realize what threat. They lost a soldier. There has also been an increased activity in Cameroon. So I think finally, everybody is waking up that it's not Nigeria's problem alone.
Does this also change how we look at it in Nigeria? Because, you know, there's also that area of politics where, you know, terrorism has also been said to have sprung up because of the current president. Does it also change that perspective, or are there elements of that in Al-Qaeda in West Africa as well?
You see, going to... I know definitely there are people opposed to the president, and they are organized. You must give it to them. But I would say...
And they're not the opposition.
You can call them the opposition.
Because I mean, I would think that naturally,
what I would say is
political leaders in office, they will have opposition.
Going forward, we have big crisis on our hands. Going forward as a nation, we have big crisis on our hands. If the perception, it's all about perception, the reality might not be the truth, but the perception, if you go on net and you talk to people, is that, look, this is because people are opposed to the president, and they are all doing this. Meaning tomorrow, if power goes to the north, we might begin to also have crisis in the Niger Delta. They will say, you gave Jonathan hell for 5 years. We are going to give you hell for 5 years. Or we are going to give you hell for 8 years. So that's my worry. Because the perception, that impression has stuck, that all this is in opposition to Jonathan.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, now that it's Al-Qaeda in West Africa, and Cameroon is also beginning to receive a bit of the brunt, you know, I'm just wondering if this changes perspective for us. In other words, making it a more international problem, at least localized to the region, than just for Nigeria as well.
It has always been. It has always been. But because it sprang up from the northeast, and then people making statements prior to the 2011, and even people still making statements today that, look, I've read a governor say, look, all this crisis is because Jonathan is stubborn. So that does not help. That does not help the North. It doesn't help Nigeria in the long run. Like I said, going forward, people are going to say, you gave our son 8 years of wahala. We are going to return that for you. That's perception. But the reality, like you said, is that it is an international, the insurgency today is not just West Africa, it is an international problem.
All right, let's just take a break and go for the headline news. Jokero just is standing by with that. Go ahead, please.